Supporting your child with CVI. You might be wondering, how can I best support my child? Every child is unique, and what works for one may not work for another. There's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to CVI, but don't worry. Here are some examples of general, but not specific accommodations for you to try. It all starts with observation. Observation is at the heart of understanding and supporting a child with epilepsy and CVI. You know your child deeply, and as a parent, you're constantly noticing patterns in their behavior, reactions to different environments, and changes in visual engagement or physical responses. For example, you might notice that your child puts their head down more when you are in a busy grocery store. They might take longer to see a toy next to them when they are tired. And you might notice a big difference in how quickly they look and interact with items after a seizure. These observations help guide not only day-to-day interactions, but also critical decisions for care, therapies, and interventions. Observe your kids and follow their lead. Here are some examples of general accommodations for you to try. Please note that not all of these accommodations might be appropriate for your child. Only a thorough CVI assessment can determine the specific accommodations that are ideal to your child. Physical positioning. Ensure that your child is physically supported during learning tasks. This could include an adaptive chair, a stander, a supportive pillow, or even when your child is lying on a surface. Simplify the environment. Reduce visual clutter by using solid, non-distracting backgrounds, for example, a solid rug or a blanket where your child spends most of their time. Find a quiet space. Choose a quiet, organized space with minimal distractions. Optimize lighting. Use soft controlled lighting when possible. Consider trying targeted light or lighted objects if your child is not sensitive to light. For example, try shining a flashlight on the object that you are presenting to your child. Try gentle motion or reflective materials. They may help gain your child's visual attention. Try gently moving an item back and forth or using shiny reflective objects that can help gain your child's visual attention. Use items that are single, solid, brightly saturated colors, such as a pink or a neon green. There might be another color that your child gravitates towards, and it's okay to try that too. Establish routines. As medical parents, routines are simply a part of our lives. Consider starting with one routine, such as dressing, and allow your child to become an active participant. For example, let your child be an active participant in their dressing routine by allowing them to explore their clothing items. Routines provide predictability, enabling your child to anticipate what comes next. Use a multisensory approach. Engage your child in multisensory object exploration through familiar routines. For example, during bath time, use the same bright sponge daily. Present it visually and wait. Let your child touch it and hear the water as you wash with it. Repeating this helps them recognize the sponge through its high contrast color and shape, the feeling of the sponge, and the sound of the sponge against the water and your child's body. Repetition of objects. Repeated exposure to the same objects and environments helps make learning more concrete. For example, you could introduce the same plush animal each time your child rests and at bedtime. Each time you would present it similarly, perhaps holding it close to your child's preferred visual field, or using the same sensory clues like touching the plush against their skin or verbally labeling the plush. Over time, this repetition helps your child develop more consistent visual, tactile, and auditory recognition of the object, allowing them to focus more on interacting with it rather than needing time to reprocess it each time. Keep language consistent and tied to meaningful items. For example, when you're addressing your child and presenting their shoe, you say, "Let's put on your shoe." The next time you present a shoe, label it as a shoe, not a sneaker. Here's a quick tip. Maybe add a label to each item that you're presenting to your child. Make it meaningful. Tie learning opportunities into meaningful and motivating activities. For example, if your child likes musical instruments, consider letting them hold the instrument, feel the vibrations, or explore different sounds by striking different objects. This makes the learning activity more motivating because it connects with their interest in music, while also supporting skills like hand-eye coordination, anticipation, and cognitive development. Allow for time. Allow enough time for your child to become aware of an object and to visually process and recognize the item. Sometimes this takes time. Supporting a child with CVI starts with observation. By noticing patterns in their behavior, parents naturally learn how to accommodate their child's needs. Examples include simplifying environments by reducing visual clutter, optimizing lighting, and using adaptive positioning for optimal postural support. Incorporating multisensory learning, establishing consistent routines, and using repetition helps create familiarity and understanding. Whether it's a familiar object during bath time or allowing extra time for visual processing, each of these approaches creates a supportive, engaging environment that meets the specific needs of a child with CVI. Learn more about CVI at cvinow.org and learn more about developmental and epileptic encephalopathies at deepconnections.net.